Welcome to Shedding the Shame. I'm your host, Tami Wong. This is where women stop whispering about the hard things. No performing, no fixing, no pretending we're fine. Just honest conversations about what we've carried, what it cost us, and how we rebuilt. You don't need a perfect story. You just need the courage to tell the truth. You are not broken. You are not dramatic. And you are not alone. Let's shed the shame. Hello. I just decided to pop on here. I haven't done a solo episode in a little bit and was thinking today as I was driving that some people might be finding this podcast and be wondering, like, who the hell is this person and why is she doing a podcast on shame? And what gives her the right to talk about shame? And as I look at myself, I am so jet lagged. I've got like massive bags under my eyes. Just got back from traveling with my family for 2 weeks, which was amazing, and I really needed it to decompress. Been super stressed, been going through home renovations, kids ending school, running a business, my husband traveling all the time, just not living in our home for the summer because of this renovation, being split up from my kid and my husband while living with one other kid. There's just been a lot going on. And I during this trip, really let some things go. And I've been actively working on a few things in my life, been going to intense like EMDR therapy to work on some family abandonment issues that I've had since childhood, and ending of some relationships that weren't really serving me. And yeah, this trip put a lot into perspective for me. I had so much fun with my kids and my husband, explored a new country. We went to France. I got to see Paris, which I've never seen, and got to see the joy on my kids' faces and how much fun we had together. And it just really made the stuff that I feel like can be so significant in everyday life and feel like such a big load and heavy weight, kind of put it in its place. And it just reinforced, why I'm doing this podcast and wanting to provide a safe space for women to let go of shame and things that have been weighing them down. And I want to talk a little bit about the things that weighed me down for most of my life. So I have had hair loss since I was 15. I wear wigs now and have for 12 years, but I have androgenic alopecia, and it's something I held intense shame around for over 20 years. I didn't talk about it for most of that time. I didn't really start talking about it with people and feeling safe to share that until my early 30s. And I just think of all of the years I lost where I felt embarrassed and ugly and unlovable and ashamed of what I looked like. And makes me sad for that 15-year-old girl who, started to go through that and was very alone. And so now I have a business. I have a company called Hair Loss Pride that supports other women with hair loss because I don't want anybody else to go through what I did by themselves. I don't want them to struggle for 20 years by themselves and feel like they're the only ones and that no one understands. So that has always been a big topic around shame that I've spoken about. But I've also started speaking about the other big things in my life that caused a lot of shame. And those are actually harder to talk about. Things like emotional abuse and growing up in a family, in a home where I didn't feel emotionally safe, where I felt neglected, where my needs were not met, where I was taught that my needs didn't matter. I was minimized. I wasn't loved and supported unconditionally like I do for my kids now. And it left a really big wound in me that I didn't realize until decades later, and that I'm actively working to repair. And I've done a lot of work and I've healed a lot, but I'm not there yet. And that's okay. And there is no shame in that. And there's no shame in saying that I grew up in a home that hurt me. Not physically, but the wounds went really deep. And it's something I didn't share until just last year. And members of my family still don't want me to share it. And it isn't something that is supported. And I do it anyway because for me, it's important for my healing. And anytime I've talked about it, the number of people, of women who have reached out and said that they have been through the same thing and that they appreciate me talking about it has been staggering. So I'm going to keep talking about it. I also don't talk about the fact that my dad went to jail when I was 17, the summer before my senior year of high school. And I still don't know a lot about that situation. I was young, information was not shared with me. It was very traumatizing for me. I lived in a small town in Nebraska, and there was a lot of gossip about my family and my dad, and I was very embarrassed and ashamed, and um, heard people talk about me and my family behind my back. And, not only did I have to live through that and not understand what was happening and why it was happening, but I then had to live with my mother who was emotionally abusive during the time he was gone, and I'll be alone with her. And that was really negative for me. Um, she was not a nurturing, safe space. And when my dad came home, he was not the dad who went to jail. He used to be this funny, lovable, friendly, open guy. And he came home paranoid, angry, resentful, and quiet. And I lost my ability to connect with the one person in my home that felt safe to me. And he was never the same again. And I never had the same relationship with him. And it created a lot of abandonment wounds in me. The time he was in jail, which was just a month or two. I can't remember the exact specifics of it now, so many years later, but it wasn't super long, but he didn't communicate with me. So I just completely lost my dad at that point. And that was really hard. I was raised in a really religious family. Like my mother was very religious. I went to church twice a week. There was a lot of religious shame in how I was raised. Did not talk about sex, did not talk about alcohol, drugs, nothing. Anything I tried to talk about, I was shamed for bringing that up. So I was taught growing up that you should obviously be abstinent till you're married. Sex was shameful and dirty and wrong outside of marriage. And there was just a lot of judgment on anybody who my mother didn't feel like lived up to her standard of how you should be as a Christian, which is funny given how she acted behind closed doors. So that the religious shame has complicated my feelings about a lot of things, about sexuality and, how I should be as a woman, and how humble I should be. I shouldn't be boastful. I shouldn't celebrate my successes publicly. There's a lot of stuff that's come out of that I've realized as I've gotten older that's been very damaging. And that's not to say I don't believe that religion can be a good thing. I do. I still do have spiritual beliefs, but I think the way I was raised was not healthy, was not positive for the most part. And, some other things I've gone through: miscarriages, infertility, being laid off, uh, death of a lot of people very close to me, friends, family members. I went through, God, how many deaths? Like 6 deaths by the time I was 20 of people close to me that I loved. So a lot of grief there that again, I didn't really process at the time and I kind of pushed down and um, I didn't know how to deal with it. And I didn't get a lot of support from my family, my parents in helping me through really traumatic things and losses of people that I loved. And all of these things have shaped me and who I am today. And a lot of it in positive ways. I worked in healthcare for 20 years. I was a physical therapist assistant for 10 years and treated patients. I worked in biotech for almost 10 years and did business operations, patient advocacy. Really always wanted to work in a capacity to give back to people and help others. And very much that like caretaker role. And I think it's because I was raised to take care of everybody else and put my needs last. And it feels very natural to me. And so I'm in this era now of trying to put myself first and my needs first. And there are people in my life who do not like it and are like, you've changed. I don't know who you are anymore. And I'm like, well, of course you don't, because I never asked for anything. And I always just kept my mouth shut, acted like everything was fine, did everything for everybody else despite it hurting me or not addressing something I needed. And now that I finally have the confidence in myself and the capacity to give back to myself, it is a change for people. And people that were benefiting from my silence or from my overgiving don't like this new me. And that's okay. That's their problem. That's not a me problem. Uh, it's overdue for me to finally step into my own and take care of myself. And I also know that me finally doing that and putting myself first is the way I can show up as the best mom, the best wife, the best friend that I can be. Because if I am constantly draining myself for others or ignoring my own needs, then I can't give to others in a way that is genuine and authentic. And so, yeah, I am losing some relationships in my life. Some of those relationships that I love are becoming more distant because people don't like the new me. And that's hard to be okay with, but it's important to be okay with because I know that I'm not doing anything wrong by saying no to things that don't benefit me. So that's a big thing with shedding the shame where I had an idea to start this podcast a long time ago, gosh, probably a year ago now. And I thought I would have loved to listen to something like this. Like, maybe I'll just try it. And then to my surprise, I think it was 23 women filled out an intake form in the first like 30 days. I have published 15 episodes since February. I have recorded enough episodes to air until the end of 2026. I'm recording this July 8th. It blows my mind. I am now having people's agents reach out to me to have them on my podcast. And that's where my imposter syndrome comes in because I'm like, why do they want to be on my podcast? I am not a household name. I'm not famous. This is a new podcast. My podcast Instagram page has barely any followers. Like, why would these bigger names or people that have books coming out or whatever want to be on my podcast? And imposter syndrome is something that I battle in my business too with Hair Loss Pride. Because even though I've lived with alopecia for 30 years, even though I've worked in the healthcare industry for 20 years, even though I have a psychology bachelor's degree, like I'm not a therapist and I'm never going to tell you that I am. I don't have these advanced degrees in um, in psychology and psychotherapy, but I do think that I bring a lot of value in who I am, in my lived experiences, in my history of working in healthcare with patients, with doctors. And so on the days where I feel like, why would anybody want to do anything with me? I remember that I would want to work with me if I were on the other side. I would want someone who's authentic and vulnerable and transparent and just wants to help people. So I hope other people will feel that way too. And I just keep going. And yeah, with the podcast, again, like, wouldn't have thought, oh, I'm going to start a podcast because who cares what I have to say, right? But it's not about me. It's about allowing these other women to share their stories and let them go and talk about how those situations changed them, how they grew, and try to inspire and encourage other people who might be going through the same thing. So, no, I don't have it all figured out. No, I'm not making hundreds of thousands of dollars. If I wanted to do those things, if I wanted to be famous and make all this money, I probably would have stopped doing this a long time ago because it's not easy. It's not a quick path to success and financial freedom. Entrepreneurship, running a small business, running a podcast is hard. It's a lot of work. But I do it because I truly enjoy it. And I truly want to leave a positive impact on this world. I feel like it is my mission, it is my meaning in life to help other people and leave the world a little better than I came into it. And I think it's partly because I have been through so much trauma and pain in my life that I really do want to make the world a little brighter for other people so they don't feel alone. And so I will continue to show up every day and try and keep swinging for the fences and reaching out to beauty and fashion brands and trying to get women with alopecia represented, all these crazy things that I'm trying to do that you could never have told me 2 years ago, even a year ago, that I would be doing some of this stuff. But I also just believe in myself and my mission and my goal, and we'll see where it goes. Can't get anywhere if I don't try, right? And some of the opportunities that have come my way this year, I would never have dreamed. And it's because I kept trying. I kept emailing, I kept reaching out. Sometimes for 6 months, on and off, I reached out to a brand. And it eventually worked out. So my stubbornness pays off sometimes. But yeah, if you're out there listening and you're feeling imposter syndrome, or why would anybody listen to me, or I want to do this thing, but nobody's going to care, or like who would want to do that? I encourage you to try. You'll never know if you don't. And the worst that can happen is that you're in the same place you're in now where it didn't work and you try something else. And you never know. It could be everything you dreamed of and more. So just me on here rambling today, random thoughts as I work through my jet lag. But yeah, I just wanted to drop a little bit of a personal episode and talk a little bit about who I am and why I do what I do. And I hope it resonates with you. And I hope you'll stick around and check out more episodes of the podcast. I've been really proud of all the women who have shared so far, and think there's a lot of information on these episodes that will help others. So we'll talk soon. Thank you for being here and for listening to another powerful conversation on shedding the shame. If something in today's episode resonated with you, I want you to sit with that. Let it land. Let it remind you that whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it quietly. Shame survives in silence. Healing begins when we speak. If this episode moved you, share it with a woman who needs to hear it. Start the conversation. Send the text. Have the brave talk. And if you're ready to stop whispering about your own story, keep coming back. These conversations are just getting started. Until next time, keep telling the truth, keep taking up space, and keep shedding the shame.